XRP Familia, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel where we're going to be talking about XRP, what we could be expecting going into Friday morning. Shout out to you guys, appreciate all the love. Looking across the board right now, we're seeing a little bit of a minor pullback for the broader market going into Friday morning, as we could see. But again, in the grand scheme of things, let's not forget what has been happening for the broader market over the course of the last 2 days. If you're looking at XRP right now, $3.02. Love what I'm seeing here for XRP still. We were able to close the daily candle above $3, so a big thumbs up for that. And we're up about 0.5% in Bitcoin compared with the valuation standing nice and strong above 181 billion, to be exact, $181.4 billion, and the 24-hour trading volume at about 7.4 billion. As always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in crypto. So look at what Vincent says. So first, RippleX posted, without privacy, financial institutions cannot safely use public ledgers. Without accountability, regulators cannot sign off. With programmable privacy, we can have both. And look what Vincent says. As I have said, institutional adoption requires compliance and regulation. Ask yourself, which of the blockchains out there provide features to natively build compliance? This is huge. Hint, hint, guys, XRPL. This is massive. And obviously right now, RWAs are being discussed so much. We're actually there's being talks about equities being tokenized, which is insane to think of. Obviously these institutions want a compliance aspect, obviously. And that's where the XRPL ledger is that one-stop shop, checks all the boxes. And hint, hint, guys, let me know your personal thoughts. But let's take a look at ETF flows today. So ETF flows around 627.2 million worth of Bitcoin and about 300 million worth of Ethereum were bought on October 2nd, which was yesterday. So nice inflows here. But look at this. This made me laugh a little bit. Bloomberg announces live the crypto market is entering October. That's so funny to me because before, this term would never make the mainstream media, and even in the traditional market, this was never the case. But now, you're seeing this term being thrown around on live television. This tells you how far this market has come. We're looking at October being announced on live television. We've come a long way, guys. We've come a long way. But again, I wanted to share that with you guys. But most importantly, reminder for you guys, if you did not end up watching my update that went live earlier today, earlier yesterday, it was pretty much kind of going over this, but I'm going to highlight this. Shout out to Nate for saying this. With crypto futures and options trading reaching record levels on CME, world's leading derivative marketplace announces 24/7 trading beginning in early 2026. So TradeFi quickly confirming to DeFi standards, just the beginning. And you're starting to see everything coming on chain. And this should tell you how fast things are moving. This used to be a dream back in the day. And I swear, if this announcement was, released a few years back, the market would react in a crazy positive way. But now the market is maturing. People are, kind of realizing what's going on. But this should really give you a better understanding as to, where things are really going. This is just the start to something very big. TradeFi and DeFi are really coming together, and this is one of the many examples, of course, we have shared on the channel. But a reminder, fasten your seatbelts. XRP ETF train has left the station, and look who's on board. Franklin Templeton, Wisdom Tree, ProShare, Grayscale, 21 shares, and many more. We're still missing the big dogs like BlackRock, like Fidelity, but I think they're watching very, very closely. I know a lot of people are still, quite skeptical on, when that's really going to happen, but I think it's inevitable. There's no way it makes sense to me specifically that they're watching their biggest competitors out here coming in and, filing for an ETF. And we're talking about, a very, very big ETF. XRP and Solana ETFs, I think, are going to break some records. A lot of people are underestimating these ETFs. Look at what happened with Ethereum. I always like giving the Ethereum, example, because Ethereum barely got any inflows from the beginning. But I think out the gate, XRP is gonna, shatter Ethereum's record out the gate when Ethereum ETF went live. That's my personal opinion, but I think it's inevitable. Fidelity and the likes of BlackRock are going to come in the picture. It just doesn't make sense that these guys are just sitting on the sidelines and letting their bigger competitors just take the piece of the pie. Just doesn't make sense to me. It's a business at the end of the day, and these are competitors. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. But again, a continuous reminder as to how big these asset managers really are that are filing for an XRP spot ETF. But take a look at this. United Nations highlights Ripple and Stellar in the future financial system. This clip comes from a United Nations Capital Development Fund webinar. They describe an open and regulated payment network that allows payments to anyone, anywhere, or on any network, emphasizing interoperability. Ripple and Stellar are directly mentioned and clearly shown in the international payment diagram as essential parts of the global payment network. So, kind of showing you how far this is going. People are starting to understand now that, blockchain technology is here to stay. And, this is being discussed in very, very important meetings. So again, shout out to Smoke for sharing that with us. But take a look at this. I wanted to share this with you guys. So institutional investors are cashing the gains. Investors sold 4.7 billion of U.S. equities last week, driven by a single stocks. Outflows from single stocks rose by 500 million to 5.7 billion, making the last 2 weeks outflows the third largest since 2008. This was led by institutional investors who sold 3.6 billion, the most since June, after 1.4 billion in prior week. Hedge funds sold 1.3 billion, posting their third consecutive weekly outflow. Meanwhile, retail investors turned to buying for the first time in 4 weeks at 200 million. This is very interesting, guys. This makes me wonder what's really going on. Is this capital going to go into Bitcoin and altcoins now? Is this due to the government shutdown? Let me know in your thoughts in the comments what this is happening and why this is happening. Let me know in the comments. S&P still reaching an all-time high. So are we seeing like a shift happening where retail is using these big investors, institutional investors, hedge funds are using retail as exit liquidity? Let me know in the comments what your personal thoughts are on that. Well, let's take a look at Bitcoin dominance. If you're looking at Bitcoin dominance, 58.75%. Obviously, from October 1st, we are in this downwards trajectory. We saw this wick down to 58.59% as indicated on my other videos. I think this wick is going to fill in sooner rather than later. Bitcoin right now seeing a little bit of a minor pullback. Remember, Bitcoin had a great day. We went up to $121,000. So it's since then a little bit of a nice, healthy correction, which is totally normal. Let's not forget that. Targets remain to be the same. I want to see the price of Bitcoin closing above $120,000 today. If it's able to do that, I think we can actually see an all-time high possibly this upcoming week. That would be very, very interesting to see. But as far as XRP's price is concerned, as stated earlier in the update, we did close above $3, and right now we're sitting nicely at $3.03. We actually wicked up to $3.10, which of course we have also discussed. So I like what I'm seeing here with XRP. Targets for XRP right now are around $3.20. That's the level that I am looking very, very closely for. Breaking above here, guys, things can really start heating up fast. We could start retesting early August levels, and after that, all-time high, here we come. So I love what I'm seeing here with XRP. Cannot complain. Look at the bigger picture. One of the best performing assets, which a lot of people actually don't even realize, but XRP actually has performed really, really nicely, and I think that next final wave is imminent. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. Love you all. See you later. Been Crypto ZX, and peace out.